How's it, guys? This is Davey FPL and welcome back to another Deadline with Davey live stream. I've just noticed that the timer is off, so let me just update that. I do apologize for being slightly late, but you guys can give me a little bit of slack. Just came back from holiday, not exactly in the live stream way of things, but don't worry, we will get this done. Let me just adjust that timer. I don't want you guys to be getting the wrong information here. You didn't miss the deadline. I just forgot to change it. But while I'm changing the timer, let me know if the audio and the video do look and sound good. That's the least I could do, is just get that right. So let's just make this start at, let's say, what, 11:10. It's about 3 minutes time. So we'll just have to have incorrect information up until then. And then today's date is going to be today, and then it's going to be for 50 minutes. Okay, cool. So just give it a little bit of time there, guys, and then it will reset. And then it will reset in about 3 minutes time. So let me know how you guys are doing. I haven't seen you for about 2 weeks. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. Hopefully you do enjoy these deadline streams, but the rank is absolutely terrible. It's actually around more 7.7 million. It's just that there's been no money in the bank changes because I'm on Wildcard, so I don't have to kind of disclose the funds at the time being. But when we do lock in the final team, just remind me if you guys do want the funds, and I will cover over how much money we have in the bank so that you guys can know if you have a similar team value to myself. We are on a wild card. Don't worry, this isn't the final wild card team. I think actually a better representation as I shift the stream over here is probably to do this screen. Just so that we do go over the changes. You can see that we have unlimited transfers. And I think this screen will probably be the more important one throughout the stream, just as we lock in our final kind of wildcard draft. Can just adjust this here, Actually, probably make it a little bit wider, so that you guys can see all the players. And then also let me know, actually, let me put up a poll right now so that you guys can let me know if you are on the wildcard or not. I just want to know how to adjust the sort of information that we're going to be creating. So if you guys can just vote on this poll, are you on which chip? Okay, wildcard, triple captain, because I know there's a few triple captainers out there, and then or no chip. I'll disclose this. I think that if you guys aren't on the wildcard, I probably would be on the triple captain. That's just how it seems like at this moment. So show us the shirt. So this is another kind of. You can see I'm not back into the live stream way of things because I decided to wear a green shirt when I have a green screen. So not the best decision, but I'm just happy that it is at least showing some of my torso. But this is just the Liverpool third kit. I actually bought it yesterday. I got back from holiday and then I went to the shops and I bought this kit. Actually cheaper in South Africa than it is in Europe. I was quite surprised to see that. And then I do apologize if you guys hear some background noise. The people below me are doing some renovations or something like that. So I promise you, it's not my side. But I'm going to try and speak loudly so that you guys don't hear it. But if you guys hear drilling in the background, that sort of thing, just know it's not me. And Vincent, no chocolate milk. The thing about the chocolate milk is I've had it since the start of the season and we are doing terribly. So maybe the chocolate milk has lost a bit of its juju. I don't know. I've just got the Powerade today because I wasn't really feeling like the chocolate milk. But sorry, we did have a super chat from FPL Victorious Secret. Thank you for that one. And you've got your wildcard draft here. So let's just run through it quickly. Raya, Dubravka, Gabriel, Senesi, Van der Ven, Anderson, Goodmanson, Saka, Bruno. Okay, so Caicedo instead of Stach. And then you've got Evan Nielsen instead of Gyökeres. Thoughts, please. Okay, so overall the defense is fine. I still have to just clarify one thing. I don't know if you guys know this answer. But Goodmanson versus Rodon, is there that much between them? Because I've seen the majority of people going for Rodon, and that just might mean he's more nailed than Goodmanson. But if you look at their XG, Goodmanson's pretty decent, and it's not like Rodon's racking up the DEFCON points every single week. So if you guys are a Leeds fan or just know that answer to that question, you can let me know. But is there much difference between Goodmanson and Rodon? In terms of your team, though, I don't have any complaints. Caicedo over Statch, you're using the funds. If you do like Evan Nielsen, that's okay. I still feel like you might want to, if I wasn't going to go for Statch, I might want to see if you can fit someone like a Foden in there. Instead of going for Evan Nielsen, can you go for Foden and a cheaper striker? Because that's something that you could also consider FPL Victoria's Secret. And I would say that maybe Foden over Evan Nielsen for the next 3. That's probably what I would just say. Okay, so Sid Barker, Sid Barber, thanks for that one. I do appreciate it. If you are a Leeds fan, just let me know though. Is there anything like in there? Is it because he's more nailed, or is it just because, I don't know, you can see some threat? Because I looked at his XG, and his XG is like 0.01 each game, so it's not even like he's getting on the end of set pieces. So Sid, I'd appreciate the kind of feedback on that one. We did have some early questions here from FPL Hits as usual. I do apologize, I can't see the first message as the poll is blocking it. But FPL Hits is saying, how's it on a wildcard? Already used the bench boost. Would you recommend Foden / Saka plus Richarlison instead of Gyökeres plus Statch and get Goico next week? Saka, no, so I do like Gyökeres over Saka slightly just because he might be the main focal point on penalties, that sort of thing. I don't have anything against Saka, but I think if I was to go for Saka, I'd rather just go for Foden. Now, in terms of your team, you're going to have to answer this yourself because you already used the bench boost. So I don't know how your full team looks, but if you've already used the bench boost, then you can go super cheap on your bench. I actually think that might be quite attractive is to go for Mark Geu as your 4.4 forward because you don't have to use him for the bench boost anyways. And then you can maybe just go for a 5 in midfield, like a stacked 5 in midfield. Unless you obviously do want to go for Gyökeres, then I would go for Gyökeres, Joao Pedro, and Haaland. But there's not that much between them. It's very hard for me to predict who's going to score more points, Saka versus Gyökeres. There's just too much in it and too much to discuss. But as you've said, you've already used the bench boost, so you don't have to go for Statch because you don't need a massive playing 5th midfielder option. Thanks to Darth. Do appreciate the let's go. Thanks, Tracy. I do appreciate the kind words. Siobhan, holiday was good. It just was very packed. So we went to a bunch of places around Spain, Italy, Malta, France. So it was very busy, like going day by day, because it was like touristy places like Florence, Rome, that sort of thing. So you almost want to see all the sites that you can. So it was pretty packed. I think I need a holiday from my holiday. But yeah. About to enjoy pie in Dubai while I watch a stream. I do hope that it's a good one, Tracy. And I think Vincent said he's watching in a cafe. So I do appreciate your guys' support. You're watching me from every end of the world here. Gaz is saying, how's it, Davey boy? Sounds great. Thank you, Gaz. Do appreciate it. Abe saying, missed your content. I'm just happy that you guys are happy to see me back because I thought there was going to be a lot of hate after how the rank is looking. But nice to see that you guys are still at least a little bit supportive of how it's going. But Sadesh is coming with the reality. Just curious, is this the worst start you've ever had? So Sadesh, I think it's the worst start I've ever had because there was the first season I played FPL, I missed the first 3 weeks. So that start was probably worse than this one. But in terms of the other seasons, I would probably say it's my worst start, but I can't exactly remember. All I can say though is I'm not super stressed about it. I think with the double chips, that sort of thing, massive gains can be made. So let's just see. It's almost like a challenge now. I would say like top 10k is going to be tough, but I think who knows what's going to happen with the double chips and that sort of thing. Our second half of the season is always really clutch. So let's see what happens. Thanks, SH, for saying audio in the video. Abe saying, been a member for 12 months, best money spent. So recently it's been a bit rough, but thank you for the support. Wino, Saka, no Pedro. Okay, Cash, this isn't the team. I'm just answering some intro questions. I do apologize. Let me go over the actual players. Hanan, it's okay. I'll go over variations if you guys can't afford the wildcard draft. He's definitely more nailed and injury resistant. Goodmanson looks more of a threat on the wing. Okay, thanks, Sid. Appreciate that. How's London, Vincent? Okay, so let me go over what the team looked like in the last draft. or in my team selection yesterday. I think that team does look pretty okay. Let's go. Okay, so instead of Pedro Porro, we had, okay, so let's just say Rodon here. This could be Rodon, Goodmanson, that sort of thing. And then I think instead of Richards, who did we have here? Oh no, we had Tarkowski. Yeah, sorry, I just was getting confused with the money in the bank, but we're going to downgrade Paqueta now. So if we downgrade Paqueta, Statch comes in. In terms of stats, there's not much with him, kind of. It's just the fact that the only week I really need him is when I bench boost. And if you go to his full profile here, you'll see it just on the end of your screen. In game week 8, he has Burnley, and then in game week 9, he has West Ham. So it's these fixtures here. So the only real reason I need him is those two fixtures, and that's kind of when he has good fixtures. So Statch is there. This was the team though. There are some variations that you guys can do on top of this. Like for example, someone on my Discord, I should actually probably reply. They said that they could afford Romero. So if you can afford Romero, I would probably go from over here. Sorry, let me just reply to this. Yes. Sorry. It looks fine. And once again, guys, as I said, I do apologize if you can hear some background noise. It's my neighbors. They're doing renovations for some reason. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't take away from the soothing FPL advice you're getting here. They said Dave nerfed himself with the ranking this year. I literally wanted to say this. I wanted to post that meme where it was like, I asked my landlord to up my rent because I wasn't grinding hard enough. So maybe that's what we've done. We've tanked the rank as a challenge. It's almost like FPL General where he chose not to pick Salah or Haaland for the entire season. Captain D saying I will go to Italy, Switzerland, and Germany for a month next week. I can't wait. That sounds very interesting, especially Switzerland. I just know Switzerland's expensive, but it's really pretty. Cammy said it was in Rome a week before. What a place. Was it super busy for you as well, Cammy? Because like, what I was told is that it was the end of the kind of peak season, but it was hella busy. Like there were so many tourists there. Did you announce the moves anywhere on Sunday? So Cammy, I announced them on Discord. So the only thing that was bad is that with YouTube, I've experienced in the past when I've logged in a different country, it sometimes changes my location, and that's going to affect things for my like payments and that sort of thing. So that's why, unfortunately, on YouTube, I couldn't log in and post stuff. So I just announced it on Discord. But like on reflection now, there are some people that might not be on the Discord server, but they might be in the YouTube chat. So like that's the only bad thing about having been away and wildcarding. I wasn't anticipating wildcarding, so that's why I didn't think about it. But yeah, I did announce it on Discord, and we've gone over some of those price rises. So I did announce it on Twitter, though. I did say something. Like, I was initially going to announce it in Spanish and say Wildcard active, but I think I posted a picture and I said Wildcard active when I didn't activate it. Why did you decide not to go with Saka? Between Saka and Gyökeres, it's quite close for me. I just am slightly worried with Saka's recent injury concerns. I just don't know. I know Madueke is out now, so he should be nailed. But I feel like if Saka was on penalties, I think I would go for him. But because he's not, I just feel like Gyökeres seems like he's going to be the penalty taker. That's just what I'm doing. Is this your final team? Or if not, what changes are you thinking of making? Okay, Simon, good question. And I'm also happy to see that the timer is looking better. So let me just move this timer slightly to the right here. Okay, cool. So the timer's working. Okay, so the question I asked over on Twitter was, who would you rather have? Would you have Foden or would you rather have Joao Pedro? Now, in the poll that I posted, I think I posted the wrong sort of answers, because if I go for Joao Pedro, you want Joao Pedro for game week 9 onwards. Okay, so I don't think you guys... Okay, if I move my head here, you guys can see it slightly. But like game week 6, it's Brighton, then it's Liverpool. Then it's Nottingham Forest. So the Nottingham Forest game, the Liverpool game, and the Brighton game might be good, but the big thing we've just learned is that Joao Pedro has only been training since Thursday, so he has had a knock, which does worry me, which maybe thinks that he's going to have limited minutes. I think he'll start, but he might come off 60, 70, that sort of thing, which might be okay. But then Liverpool next, Nottingham Forest, I know they haven't been great, but still, they're not the worst defense. These 3 fixtures are pretty tough, but you would want Joao Pedro from game week 9 onwards, because then it's Sunderland at home, Wolves at home, Burnley, Leeds, that sort of thing. So if I go for Joao Pedro, I'm basically saving a transfer for the future. But if you look at like the Man City fixtures, you can actually just see this top 3 here. It's Burnley, Brentford, and Everton. I mean, those are so good. So if I do go for Foden, while it might require future additional transfer, surely Foden outperforms Joao Pedro over these next 3, but I guess if he does start, and he might not start every game, that sort of thing, but Foden could be a great shout here. So the only switch that I might consider is instead of going for Statch, go for Foden, and then in terms of this like cheaper spot, I would probably just go for Foster at 5.0. And then what I would do is I would upgrade one of these other, I would downgrade one of my other defender positions. So, for example, let's say we don't go for, okay, no, we actually could just do this. So we could just go for Van der Ven. So this is one of the things I was considering, is instead of going for Foden and Foster, I could go for Statch and I could go for Joao Pedro. I don't know, you guys can let me know what you think about that. I think this draft looks quite good, but it's very dependent on if Foden starts. That's my only concern there. That's what I'll just say. And then also obviously I would book in the future move of Van der Ven out for Anderson in game week 10, I think, or game week 9, game week 10. So that's also an additional move. So I don't know. There's a lot of moves I'm kind of banking in already, which I don't know if I like the sound of on a wild card. But yeah. Vernon Fernandez is saying Pedro has more influence when Palmer's not there. So I think it could work both ways. 100% he could be more involved. Maybe if he's also on penalties instead of Enzo, that could also be some of an influence. But what you could maybe also argue is that if Palmer's out, how does that affect their attack? Like, he's out for the next 3 weeks. So if Palmer's a really good creative threat in that team, without him, how are Chelsea going to attack? So it could actually be a negative as well. And that's what I was also thinking, like, there's a lot of stacked odds against Pedro now with the lack of fitness, him not training, with Palmer out for the next 3 weeks. You know, there's a few things. Bench boost next week. So in the video that I was talking about, the team selection, I was maybe looking at potentially game week 9, but that is a bit in the future. So game week 8 is the easiest week because Dubravka's Leeds at home, so that could be okay. But game week 9 has slight better fixtures, especially if you're going to go for the Everton assets because they've got Man City. And also game week 8 is often international break, so there could be some concerns. I don't think we need Tarkowski, instead get Guardiola and Van der Ven. So that is an option. I could go for Guardiola. My concern as well, like with a Foden though, is just Man City have so many fit defenders. Like no one is injured except for Kushanov. I think that's his name. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that. So that's why. So Shem, why don't you post on YouTube? So it's the same thing I just mentioned earlier. It's like I've had trouble in the past when I've logged in from a different country and then it changes my country of my YouTube account. And I didn't have a VPN because I wasn't anticipating wildcarding when I did leave for holiday. So that's why I didn't want to log in and it changes the account for payment reasons. So that's why I was just posting on the Discord server. But yeah, I do apologize that just kind of was a compromise. But you know, the Discord's the best place to get those sort of transfer moves. But don't worry, if you can't afford the team, we'll go over some variations, especially in the defensive department. You can just downgrade 1 or 2 defenders, and I don't think it's going to actually affect you in terms of the bench boost. There's no Liverpool coverage. I know that is that's pretty shocking. But I just, with that forwards, you're not going to go for Isaac. You're not going to go for Ekatike now. You're not going to go for Gakpo. You might go for Gakpo, but there could be rotation there. Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, that's okay, but they're not the most exciting. And then your defenders, I always recommend Virgil, but the defense hasn't been great. So it's literally Salah or no one. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Okay, so in terms of the poll, 62% of you said that you're on the wildcard, so that's okay. So the wildcard content can be the majority. 22% on triple captain and 16% on no chip. So I'll say what I said earlier. If you guys are on no chip, I would at least consider the triple captain. I know it's quite a popular template thing at the moment, but Haaland's just had a rest. I don't think that comment that Pep said that he was like might not be fit, I don't think that was real. I think it was just that he was going to be out of the squad. So he's had his rest and he's playing Burnley, who aren't too fantastic. So I think that could look good. I think this structure is better if the Bruno Foden structure is safer in case you want to pivot to Salah Palmer later on. Sadesh, that could be a viable talking point. Dave, what about Tarkowski to Burn, Gabriel to Saliba, and Statch to either Caicedo or Minter? I think it's better for the long term and the bench boost as well. I looked at Minter, but what worried me was that the Brighton manager had comments in a previous game where he said Minter wasn't like tracking back or defending like he required, so he just subbed him. And also the right wing slot, I don't know if it was Gomez, if that was his name, but he scored 4 goals in the Carabao Cup. So like there's some competition there potentially for that spot. That's why I didn't go for Minter. But Caicedo is fine. If you want to go for Caicedo, that's okay. But I don't mind Statch. And as mentioned, I don't need him until the bench boost, which is game week 8 and 9, and he has good fixtures there. Would you go Timber or Saliba? Teesmeister, if you can afford both, I would just go for Saliba. I think that the centre-backs have quite a bit of threat. I do like Timber, though. But I don't know, I'm always skeptical about those sort of fullback positions for Arsenal. But I think White's out injured for the long term, so he should be okay. But I think Saliba maybe slightly over Timber, but they should be quite close. I can check projected points for you, actually. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very similar between them. Okay, let's go check top defenders. Yeah, so Saliba's slightly over Timber, but that's because of the minutes. Saliba should be nailed if he starts. Why Hashem said, why Haaland over Salah? Can we have both? You can have both. I just feel like it ruins the structure a bit, and with the bench boost, it's going to make it quite tough. But I do feel like because there's so many cheap options, you can go for both. For me, it's just a question of captaincy, and I don't know how often I'm going to captain Salah in the next short term. But what I could do in around game week 9 is swap Haaland and Salah. I can do that switch with 2 free transfers. So that's what actually makes it quite nice. Have you made your transfers? I've made my wildcard transfers, but I haven't locked in the team. Might be a good time to just quickly go over the odds if you guys are interested in them. And now, please don't base your wildcard decisions on one game week of information. So don't just pick a player because they have a very strong clean sheet chance, that sort of thing. So this week has some very strong matchups. We have Man City with 2.65, so definitely the highest goal scorers, and also the highest clean sheeters, just under 50%. We have good odds then for Forest, Tottenham, and Everton. And then we also do have some good high projections for like a Spurs against the Wolves. The Liverpool game is looking like a little bit of more of a cagey one. And then Everton have some good odds. Actually, 1.75 is not bad for Everton. So some pretty high odds. And then the Newcastle-Arsenal game looks like it's going to be pretty dead. So I'll just leave these up for a few more seconds. Let me just check Twitter if we have received any early team sheet news or anything like that. Is anyone's Twitter quite slow today? Yeah, I don't see anything early. Yeah, I don't see anything there in terms of the early team news. Let's just get back to some questions there. Are you likely to stick with this? I don't know. I think the Pedro move is the Joao Pedro team is probably a little bit safer. It's booking and less transfers. Let's just say that. I do like the Foden pick though because it's a bit more of a punt. And what you're punting against is Joao Pedro, who hasn't trained, doesn't have Palmer, and he's owned by like half the game. So it's a risk, but it is like one of the best punts to take. Although you could just not go for Gyökeres and then you can get both of them. That's also a viable strategy, let's just say that. 0.1 off, what would you suggest? I would just not go for Van der Ven and I'd go for Anderson, or I would go for Richards. Free a draft, please. I am accidentally on free it. Okay, we'll go over this shortly. Where would you downgrade if you want with 0.5 short for the team you have on screen? Christian, we can go over some of those options now, but probably what I would do is maybe just split funds, and instead of going for Tarkowski and Rodon, go for Anderson and Richards. Just combine those two. I think that could be fine. Literally the one that you have on screen with Foden or the previous ones. The wildcard this week is super template. But as I've said, like there've been people that have showed me wildcard drafts, and it's just like, not to say that they won't be as good as the template, but it's just always there's some punts that are involved there. Like I like if you want to vary it slightly, like go for a Charles and that sort of thing, but I feel like the defenders pick themselves. Maybe a Guardiola if you want to go out there, but is he super non-template? Then the midfielders, they also just pick themselves. It's Reinders you're gonna pick Bruno now. You're gonna pick one of the Everton midfielders. So Semenyo also looks pretty good. So it's like template for a reason, kind of. Is it worth downgrading Foster? Will he ever get into the starting 11? Harry, because of the bench boost, yes. So that's the only thing about the bench boost. And if you've already used your bench boost, you can just go for a Mark Gayu because he's 4.4. But unfortunately, I want to keep that spot slightly open because of obviously the bench boost coming up. Graham Potter left West Ham. Has that just been announced? Surely, like, not now. Like, that would be after the game. Yeah, I don't know if that one. I've just seen all the pictures over on Twitter of it. Mateta, Liverpool, home or Evan Nielsen leads away. Evan Nielsen for me. Even though Liverpool aren't defending that well, I feel like you just have to go. And you'll probably see in the projections here, if you look at Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace, Bournemouth have high projections. Christian, I mean Anderson from Fulham. So I'll just clarify one thing here. I'm probably not going to mention Anderson from Nottingham Forest in the stream unless you guys ask a question about him. So if I say Anderson, it's always Anderson from Fulham. Are you worried that Tarkowski is not a long-term pick? So I think it might actually be the opposite. I think Tarkowski is one of the most long-term picks that you can get, just because you can probably play him any single week and he's going to get DEFCON points. So that 3-point floor, if Everton concede more than 2 goals, it's really quite attractive for the long term. I do agree with you that Tarkowski might not be, but let's for example say I'm Guardiola versus Tarkowski. I think Tarkowski is more long term than Guardiola is. That's what I'm saying. Might be getting baited, but I've seen news about Potter. Let me check. Okay, yeah, I just see now that they've said. Why would they do it now, though, just before the game? Okay, so that's pretty hectic news, I guess. Yeah, okay, so he has left. Okay, so the news has dropped. So thanks, Killshot, for putting that in chat. Yeah, unfortunately, like there's a lot of teams that I would like to have, for example, with the Newcastle defense, but I just can't fit everyone, every single team in. And like, who would you drop for like a Dan Burn? Okay, so let's go back to the original team. So this was, okay, so let's say this is the Foden draft. You guys can let me know what you think about it. This is the Foden team. The only thing that we change instead of Foden is we now go for Statch and we go for Pedro, Joao Pedro. So that's literally, this is the Joao Pedro draft and the previous one was the Foden draft. So literally all that changes is Statch to Foster, or Statch to Foden, and then Joao Pedro to Foster. So it's almost like, who do you prefer? Do you prefer Joao Pedro or do you prefer Phil Foden? That's literally what it comes down to. So let's end this poll, and then you guys can tell me what you think. But however, yeah, tease myself, I'm going to do a poll now. Just remember that I'm probably going to have to use more free transfers for the Foden draft to get him out if I want to get Joao Pedro back in. Okay, so here's another question for you guys is, do you think Potter being sacked is better or worse for Everton because they have West Ham at home? Do you think it's better or worse? I think it's better because I think from an attacking point of view, I think it's better. But from a defensive point of view, I think it's worse because they might just, everyone's just going to attack or something like that. Okay, cool. Here's the poll. You guys can vote on it. Yeah, worse, exactly. That's what I also think. I think it might be worse defensively, but it's better from an attacking point of view. I just wanted to check something here in terms of the projected points. It's... Yeah, so that is pretty big news. Yeah, so unfortunately our Graham Potter has been sacked, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Tarkowski in this wild card, yeah. So what I could do with the 0.3 in the bank, instead of Tarkowski, I could go for Guardiola. I could do this. I can afford this. I just don't know. I'm worried about Guardiola starting. That's the only thing. I'm just a bit worried about Guardiola starting 3 games in a row when they've got Champions League and that sort of thing. But yeah, you guys can let me know what you think. If you prefer Guardiola to Tarkowski, that's also viable. Look at this lovely XG involvement. This is fresh XG involvement. 0.0, 0.0. I don't think Tarkowski's any better, to be honest, though, but... Yeah, Tarkowski's like 0.2, 0.02, 0.04. Excellent. As an Everton concede a lot of XG, eh? Okay, yeah, so that is a variation that I could also go for. So Dart says, got to take the Foden punt considering our rank. That is true, but what could also happen is like Foden could tank, Joao Pedro could just keep on scoring, and then the rank just gets worse. So like it can work. Tarkowski is safe, I guess. Yeah, Sadesh, that is true. Gaz saying smash the like button for the GOAT. Doesn't seem like the GOAT with this rank at the moment, but I do appreciate the support. If you guys are enjoying the stream, you can like and subscribe. T-Smice, that is true. I thought it's in the same draft, but Caicedo over Statch. Oscar, that's 100% fine. Like, there's not much in those positions, to be honest. If you prefer Caicedo a lot more, that's viable. I just don't think I can afford him unless I do downgrade one of my defenders, which could happen. Because what happens in game week 9 when we kind of want him, he has Sunderland at home, which is a pretty nice fixture. So that could also be a viable strategy if you want to. It just depends on how much money you have, because I think Caicedo is like 0.6, yeah, 0.6 more. Foden hat-trick. I don't know, do you think Foden's... I don't want to say he's not capable of a hat-trick, but like, that'll take a lot. The thing I like about it is that what Foden gives us is everyone is triple captaining Haaland this week that hasn't wildcarded. So everyone's expecting Man City to do well, and if Foden does start, he'll also be expected to do well. So it's almost like a nullifying factor of the triple captain. So because you're not triple captaining, at least we have a little bit of pull towards someone else. Who should I bench, Joao Pedro or Ndai? Vincent, why do you have to bench one of them? Pedro has an ownership. Is Pedro's ownership really that high? Oh my word. He's owned by 68% of the game. That is literally insane. 68% of the game own him. I guess I can understand why. He's been super good. What price did he start at? 7.5. Okay, so he only had 3 price rises, but he started at a high percentage. Yeah, it was this 15-pointer that was... Yes, that was bad. And he got DEFCON here. That's ridiculous. Okay, so Joao Pedro's owned by 68% of the game. That is literally insane. Alderte or Mukeli. So from what I've read, Alderete, hope I'm pronouncing that right, he is left-footed and therefore more nailed at centre-back. Because what you want is you want your centre-backs because your full-backs don't get the DEFCON threat. So people are saying that Alderete is better than Mukeli. Oh yes, free. Let me make a freer draft for you. I'm just going to duplicate this because I don't want to take out the rest of mine. So in terms of the team that I would go for on free it, so let's just say because you're free itting, we can go for cheap options. So I'm going to take out, so let's go for Foster because he's cheap, doesn't matter. And then let's go for Good Munson. Just ignore the 4.0s. This is purely based on fixtures. Damn, would you go for the double up? I don't think I'd go for Donnarumma then. Who would you go for from a defensive position? I'm just trying to think about what defense you have here that could keep a good clean sheet. Let me just check at the odds quick. Okay, what you could do, I'd say Vicaria or Sells probably. Or Pickford. And then your last defender can literally be anyone. Let's just say Virgil, but you're going to bench Virgil anyways. So the team would be Vicario. Then I would say Senesi, Tarkowski, Romero. Then your midfield 5 would be this. And then your front 2 would be Haaland, Richarlison. That's what I would probably look at. I think this is what I would free it to. I don't think I'm missing anyone outstanding here. I mean, you could go for a Salah, but I don't know how high the Crystal Palace game is going to be scoring-wise. So this is probably what I would say as a free it. What you could also do is take out Reinders if you don't really want him. And you can go for then Donnarumma in goal. But this is probably what I would say as a free it. I'll leave it on another tab if you missed it. Okay, focus on locking in the... this comment, bruh, F the free it in a labyrinth. That is true. I do apologize. The time got away from me. I didn't see it was the final team. Okay, let's lock in the final team. Check Twitter for last final team news. Erling Haaland starts. Are they the first game? No, they're a bit later. I wish they could tell us that Foden starts. Okay, has there been anything said here? I don't know, I'm kind of feeling like the Foden draft. Damn, there's no Foden leak though. Okay, so wait, this was the team that we said we were going to go for? Right, okay, no, instead of Guardiola, we're going to go Tarkowski. Okay, so you guys voted for the Joao Pedro draft, 67% to 33. Foden will 100% start. I'm 0.7 bringing. Would you recommend instead of Rodon? No, I'd still go for Rodon. Just go for this. Foden's going to cook. This 68% is worrying me though. But I guess the gains might not be there. I think I'm feeling this Foden move, though. How's he performed? I mean, his minutes have been... Oh, wait, he did play. He's played 1967. I don't know. I think I might go for the Foden draft. Damn, now I've got to think. If you short 0.9 for this team, take out Tarkowski. Take out Tarkowski and go for Anderson. And take out Van der Ven and go for Richard. Actually, you can just take out Tarkowski for Anderson from Fulham. Sadat says JP is last year's Chris Wood, so I'm not going to buy him. Yeah, Pedro is safe, but Pedro is like safe, but JP draft is way better balanced. I could go for both. I could go instead of Ndiaye, but I like Ndiaye. I think he's a fine option. And he has a good fixture against West Ham. How much left in the bank? For this one, it's 0.0. I have 0.0 in the bank for this draft, which makes me even like it more, because it's like we've nailed it. Okay, let me just think in the future, what would this require? This would require Foden down to Statch probably. And Foster out for JP game week 9 if we want him. And we have to hope that Foden... Let me just check Man City's fixtures quickly. Okay, so they have Monaco, which is like a okay fixture. Yeah, I just don't know. I just feel like that high ownership of Foden is a bit hectic. I mean, of JP is a bit hectic, but I would have liked some more confirmation that he starts this one if we did get a leak. Foster's trash. He's not that great. Yeah, I guess JP's a little bit more safer. We can go for this. Let me make these moves. Richard's out. I'm losing Pedro Porro. Richarlison's also out. Guess I could go for a Richarlison over JP, but... Okay, let me just make the... I guess we could go for Guardiola. Would you guys, so the last change, would you guys go for Guardiola over Tarkowski? That's the last one. Guardiola over Tarkowski. Or not. Let me check top 10. So that's the last one. Guardiola over Tarkowski. Yeah, I think we keep it. Okay. So that will be the final team then. Let me just post it quick. And then we'll have 5 minutes to regret not going for Foden. Okay, so then let's go over some changes if you guys can't afford this team. Yeah, like I'd say I'm just worried that Guardiola gets rested one of these days. Who would you vice on my triple captain? Foden, Bruno. I'd probably go Bruno. Actually, let me. Okay, but Haaland starts, but that's probably the only thing I would change here is just vice captaining Bruno instead. Okay, so that's the team. If you guys can't afford this as mentioned, What I would do, I'm less 0.6. Okay, all you guys have to do if you can't afford this team, and I think this transfer is okay, is take out Tarkowski. You can choose. So there's a few options. You can take Tarkowski out, and then you could just go for Anderson, which I think is probably what you guys should do. I think everyone should be able to afford this. And then what I would do is I would take out what you could do is you could keep Tarkowski. And you can take out Van der Ven, and you could go for a cheap option like an Alderete. He's also fine. So that's okay. It just depends on which one you prefer. I would probably just do Anderson down to for Tarkowski. I think that's probably what I would do. And then start Gabriel. Start Gabriel in your starting 11 over Tarkowski or whoever you bring in, basically. So your back three will be Van der Ven or it will be whatever cheap option, but then Gabriel will be here. So just sub in Gabriel for whoever you take out. Then you guys should be able to afford that. Yeah, Gabriel on the bench does feel weird. I feel like, okay, Foden starts. Shit. Confirmed or not? I didn't see it here on Twitter. Okay, I didn't see it. Jack posted. Okay. I don't think I'm going to change it though. I don't think I have enough time. Who? Okay. I didn't see that. Upgrade to Caicedo from Stature, Romero from Van der Ven. I'll probably say Caicedo if you can afford it. There's a confirmed start. Yeah, I won't lie, I was tempted by that one. Burnley parking bus anyways. Stick with what shut yourself. So the thing I've got is my trusting myself as I think was going for Foden. I don't know. I woke up... Oscar says Foden confirmed 90 minutes according to the UN. Okay. I won't lie, there's been some good comments. What was the other favorite was bruh, F the free it, lock in the wild card. I guess for those of you guys on the free it, we created a draft for you. It might have only been it for one person, but yeah. Reinders or Gravenberch? I prefer Reinders just because I understand with Gravenberch because you probably don't have Liverpool coverage now. I still feel like Reinders is any Man City player that seems almost nailed for that cheap price tag is ridiculous. Let's just say that. Red Banana is saying solid. I've gone Foden. I mean, I like Foden. I think Foden's a good option. I'd say if he plays the next three, then he's 100% better. But is he going to play the next three? I don't know. But he should. Okay, you know what? I hope Hoons today. Okay, kill shot. So we're going to be on a Foden hate watch. I think he will start, though. He seems to be in pretty okay form. Anderson or Van der Ven? Anderson seems better with DevCon. Fulham, non-X penalty. Yeah, so Fulham are okay. The only thing is I like Van der Ven for the next three. That's basically why. And he also has the Everton game in Game Week 3 if I want, and Game Week 9 if I want to use the bench boost here. And what I'll do is in Game Week 10, I think, is I'll take Van der Ven to Anderson straight swap. It hopefully doesn't rise in price too much, but then I'll just do that because that's when the fixtures turn good for Fulham. So that's the current plan. Yes, it is a locked-in transfer, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, guys, that is going to be time up. Pens down if you know, you know. But yeah, at least I'm hoping it wasn't as stressful as previous deadline streams have been. I'd say if we went for Foden, maybe it would take more people to lock in. But as far as I know, this team is the same as the one I posted yesterday in the team selection video. I think I'm right in saying that. So yeah, guys, time up. Time is up. Let's just hope this team bangs. That's what I'm just hoping for. We should get a green arrow, touch wood, after a wild card. But with all these triple captainers, I don't exactly know how it's going to go. So I think it's going to be a massive week. And let's just hope the players that I've selected do the job. Once again, thanks for supporting the stream. I was a bit worried that having missed a week, maybe a few of you guys will have been gone, but I see a lot of the OGs are still in the chat, including Filip Petrovic, who's been a Legend member for 32 months, just saying, hi, Davey. Filip, I hope that you have not missed the deadline, brother. I hope that you've just saved this till the end of the stream. But I do appreciate it. Once again, sorry for not posting any Game Week 5 content. Was away, but don't worry, I'm back. We're going to be doing these videos and live streams frequently now. So hopefully I do see you guys for the next Game Week 7. And hopefully Game Week 6, as mentioned, is a good one and the green arrows are in our favor. But for the time being, I'm going to be signing off. It's been Davey FPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.